Or feeding now. It's about right where they are. There he is. That's a really nice fish. Of course, typical, as soon as I turn off the camera, hit a nice one. That is a really nice bluegill too. Live again. There we go. Got him. This is a nice fish again.
Really?
I guess it's just like those paddleboards.
Yep. Except those girls are cute.
So today, this is my third video of today, by the way, guys. I have a bluegill fishing video, I have a fire making video, and now I have a fly fishing video for you guys, all in one day. It's going to be kind of split up into a mini series, so that will explain why my shirt, my hat, and my glasses are all the same, and the amount of sweat that is on my arms as well. Anyways, so I realized that I've done a lot of fly fishing videos, but I haven't explained how I'm casting the way I am. I look back through my videos and I see a couple of different distinct casts that I use, and I've not really explained them at all. And some of you guys are new to the sport of fly fishing, or you just don't understand necessarily why I cast weird, mainly because I'm left-handed. And so I'm going to show you guys those casts today. If you guys are looking for kind of a how-to, I'm going to try and do 3 views. I'm going to run up and down the river here. No, I'm not on a stream with trout in it. I'm sorry guys, I couldn't make it up to Northeast Iowa today. But I'm going to run a chest camera view, so like a front-facing view, so what your arm's going to look like. So, you know, like this. But you're going to see my arm go forward, and that'll be about all you see. It's really not that helpful, but it will tell you kind of your arm movement. One that I think is going to be more helpful to you guys is I'm going to do a side view. So I'm going to have the camera off of me on a beach or a bank or something like that, and then cast this way so you can see where I'm taking the rod back to, where I'm taking the rod forward to, how fast those are, the cadence and such. And then thirdly, I'm going to do a facing view like this. So you're going to see my arm go back, and I'm going to cast at the camera. And that should give you a view of how the line lays out like this onto the water. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to tell you guys my fly fishing rod and reel, although they don't make it anymore. But I'll tell you that information anyway because I think it's useful. Alright, so this is my fly fishing setup. It is a Cabela's Cahill. It is a very much an entry-level rod. This actually came as a combo. I actually wore out the reel on the Cahill. Hold up, we have traffic. I actually wore out the reel on the Cahill, and somebody had a used Prestige reel, so I stuck that on it. It's kind of got some bung marks, but it still works all right. So that's my setup. It's a 5-weight? Yes, 5-weight, 4-piece, 8.6 rod. It's a very nice rod for trout, and especially in Iowa where we have small trout. It also works well for bluegill, crappie, and bass. So it's kind of a do-all for here in Iowa. So one important thing to note when you are doing something like this, as in wading in a river that you can't see the bottom on, and when you can see the bottom as well. I don't know why clarity necessarily denotes more caution, but what you need to do is you need to, sorry guys, I realized that you weren't straight, but what you need to do is you need to always have one foot not be moving. So you take a step, get that foot planted, now move your other foot. So you can find boulders, you can find drop-offs, you can find so many different things and hazards that you can't see when the water is murky like this. I'm up to my knees, so that's about 2.5 feet, and I can't see my toes. So I could be walking along right here, and I could come up to where there's a ledge just, a couple inches down. And I run into that ledge. See, I about fell on my butt even when I am doing the right thing. I could run into that ledge and I'd just go face first if I hadn't had my other foot planted well. So just a little bit of a safety note there. See, I've got here. So my right knee is on the bottom and my left knee is on the bottom. I have a foot tall boulder here. So I just ran into this boulder. So it took me 20 steps to prove my point. But if I had been moving with both my feet, I would be face down in this river right now. So I think I've come across my area to show you my views. I think I'm going to set you up here on this bar right here. I know you guys won't be able to hear me, so I will narrate exactly what I'm doing over it. And yeah, we'll just go that route. All right, so the first cast is your typical over your shoulder cast. So this is going to be from the view of, directly what you see. Now, if you know of the movie that I'm talking about, you guys will already see what I'm doing. A river runs through it, does a great job of explaining this. So they're Presbyterians, and they call it the Presbyterian way of fly fishing. And it's a 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock cast. And all you're doing is you're bending your elbow back and forth, back and forth. You go to 10 o'clock, then you go 2 o'clock, 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. And you stop the rod at 2 o'clock and it drops it down beautifully. No splash from the leader, no splash from the end of the floating line. And we'll do it a couple more times just to show you. So there's 10 o'clock, there's 2 o'clock, there's 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock. It's just that fast. And it's actually a lot slower than you would think it is. You don't have to go very fast, and you're gonna form a really nice loop. So let it down. That one I probably went to 3 o'clock on that one. Right there to 2 o'clock, and it just lays nicely down. One more like that. All right, so your second cast now that we like to practice is if you have structure over your dominant side. So I have a tree right here. Now I picked this, so actually I have a couple trees. I'm gonna actually move downstream for this one to demonstrate. Probably gonna lose a fly for you guys, so I'll bill you later. No, this is educational, so we're not too worried about it. So I'm left-handed, by the way, as well. I don't know if you guys realize that. I think I'm left-handed, but dyslexia kind of makes it hard to determine. So what happens if I start casting with this happening right here? I'm going to whack everything in its path with my fly rod. So what I can do, let's just say there is a nice piece of structure that I'm sitting right behind. So what can I do? I can't cast directly over my left shoulder, so now I gotta cast over my right shoulder. So it's the same exact cast, except your forearm is going to be bent across your chest. See, I just blocked you over nicely, but it's going to come back and you're going to do the same thing. And you can get the cast right to where you want it. So there's a boulder or a tree, I think, yeah, it's a tree, directly in front of me. So I'm going to aim for that knob that's coming out of the water with that cross cast. So, yep, I hit it there, we're right in line with it. And look at where I am, not even coming close. So my structure cast comes right through here, but yet directly overhead. If I was to cast it like I would an overhead cast, I would snag my fly every time. All right, so the third kind of cast we have is a roll cast. And I am not the greatest roll caster, I will give you that right now. But basically, when I've been taught when to roll cast is, actually we'll do this downstream. So we'll give you a little reverse here. So your roll cast is when you can't make an overhead cast because you've got too much stuff in every direction, but you have enough stuff or enough room to manipulate around in here. So your roll cast is exactly what it sounds like. I'm going to see if I can get you to see this. So basically you're making a loop like that. So you need to make enough of a loop. I'm trying to keep that loop in line. I'm going to make a much larger one when I actually do cast, but basically you want to start with your body facing either perpendicular to the way of the flow or the way of the cast. So I want to cast directly downstream, down towards that bridge. So I want to start with my body perpendicular, and I want to accelerate the line as much as I can upstream, and then I want to throw that loop back forward. So that's slow motion. So let it come perpendicular, bring it back past you, probably almost, well, I did that, pulled it all the way back to me, even with it, but you don't have to. So we'll do it fast motion here. Let your line go down. See, I've got some slack yet. Yep, there, all the slack came up. Accelerate it out and cast. And you took that cast and put it all the way downstream. So bring it back, acceleration, and accelerate it back. Now, I know I move you guys a lot, and that's because you have to move your body with this cast, because you can't actually get enough acceleration from just a simple 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock without bringing it up off the water and making the cast that you were trying to avoid in the first place. So if I don't want to move my body a whole lot, I bring it up, and that's almost like a spay cast, where you're bringing it up and then you throw the loop overhand. Whereas a roll cast, you're not throwing it overhand, you're throwing it kind of like a sidearm pitch. So I'll make sure to really get that one good on the side view as well. Hey guys, I had a lot of fun making this video. I really hope that you guys can see what I mean when I'm talking about different kinds of loops and different kinds of casts, because it's a really intricate thing to start to learn, but once you get, you know, your basic 2 or 3 casts down, then you can kind of start combining them. There's ones where you're, you know, side hand casting on a roll cast. So obviously I don't do that very often because I have rivers like this and streams like this where you can pretty much be anywhere in it and it's totally open, other than, you know, like stuff hanging over there, but you can generally avoid those. So some of those fancier casts, you end up with less and less situations, and that's like when I went back to saying, you know, you can have this incredibly fancy cast that looks beautiful and it takes 15 seconds to do, from, you know, left shoulder, right shoulder, left shoulder, right shoulder, and then like fake roll cast and then let it touch out there. Or you can do things that just work. The 3 types of casts that I showed you today, the traditional one you should get down pretty much immediately. Then the second one, the cross the arm, you should be able to get that down pretty fast. That one's a little bit difficult on the aiming because you have to think of the point where you want the fly to end up, and that's no longer a straight line. It's a cross between 2 lines. And then the roll cast is actually a really super handy cast in tight confined areas where you can't do either a left or a right shoulder cast, but you can get your fly downstream or upstream pretty well. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this camera work comes out. I tried to make it as close to you as possible. I know with a GoPro it's kind of hard to do, but I really hope it turns out, because I had a lot of fun making it, and I think there's a lot of information that could really benefit a lot of amateur anglers like myself and novice fly anglers as well. Thank you guys for watching.